Sorry about that. Big fan. You don't have to be. I respect all teams, but just saying. Now, my name is Sloan. I will be your safari guide today here on the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. Here in Harambe, we were established in about 1971 to protect the animals of this reserve. However, just like we protect the animals, we've also got to protect ourselves. Meaning there's a couple rules we got to go over. The first is to remain seated at all times. This is for your safety as well as those around you. Also, if you've got phones, cameras, GoPros, video cameras, hats, sunglasses, Mickey ears, or anything else you consider of value, hold on to them very tightly. It is a bumpy ride, and I cannot stop at any time to collect any items that might have fallen out. You do this for me, we're going to have a wild safari out here, alright? Awesome. Now, if you look above you, you will see an animal spotting guide. That spotting guide is going to help you identify some of the animals we may see out on the reserve. We're not going to see all of them because of migration patterns, but we will get to see a lot of them out there. Starting first with an animal off to our right. That's not the Florida duck. It's the okapi way over there. We love the ducks as well, though. Now, that's a brown animal with black and white striped legs. Okapis may look to be part of the zebra family because of those black and white stripes, but it's not related to the zebra at all. It's the only known relative of the giraffe. And we know this because of the shape of its skull as well as the length of its tongue. Both resemble a giraffe, especially that 12 to 18-inch long tongue. Local African tribes had known about the okapi for many years. It wasn't actually until 1901 that Westerners first discovered the animal. Now, if you look off to your left, there is an animal hiding behind two different kinds of animals hiding behind the brush there. The one closest to us walking out of that brush, tan antelope, is called the greater kudu. Behind it, there are some orangish brown antelope called the bongo, including a baby bongo that you can see just the head of on the left side. The greater kudu, the tan ones, are known as one of the tallest antelopes in Africa, standing from hoof to shoulder, 5 feet tall. There's going to be a couple more up ahead. Those bongos, though, those orangish brown antelope, those are known as the ghosts of the forest because they're rarely ever seen. They use those big horns to help push through thick brush and trees, so they never have to be out in the open if they choose not to be. More greater kudu up there. These are females. We know this because they don't have any horns. However, the male's horns get to be about 6 feet long, longer than the bodies themselves. Also off to our left is going to be a black rhinoceros. Thank you. We look right off to the left there, kind of follow the wall back. Black rhinos weigh about 3,000 pounds. They have no natural predators. Their biggest threat is humans. Sadly, because of poaching and other human-rhino conflicts, less than 5,000 black rhinos are left on our planet. Very small number. It's kind of a shame to think that there's more people in this park this morning than there are rhinos on the planet. But there are conservation efforts to help them, just like reserves like this one, where there's tons of different environments. So, speaking of that, we're about to exit one environment. This was the Little Ituri Forest, where the animals are a little shy and reclusive. They like hiding, like we saw. We're going to exit that environment, head towards the Safi River. Now, like the Nile River in Africa, this Safi River is going to be home to a lot of the same animals. And whether those animals are in the water because they like to swim, or because most of their diet includes fish, we're going to see them in the water or out of the water. Since the hippos look to be doing a little bit of sunbathing this morning, up ahead off to our right. Now, it's actually really rare to see hippos out of the water, and that's because they love to swim. And more impressively, walk along the bottom of the water they're in. They do this by simply submerging themselves down like a submarine would, and while holding their breath for up to 8 minutes. They kind of just hang out underneath that water. Off to our left, more hippos. These ones are swimming. Groups of hippos like this called a bloat of hippos. Seeing them out of the water, you kind of get why. They look a little bloated. I don't judge. Now, also on the island there are those gray and white birds. Those are called pink-backed pelicans. And if you look very closely at their backs, you'll see that that pink color doesn't exist. That's because it's not mating season. Only during mating season will their backs turn a pink color, giving them its name. But back to the hippos. Hippopotamuses are actually very dangerous animals, one of the most dangerous animals on the entire planet. And that's not because they're predators or hunters. There's 4 more of them out of the water here. But it's because they're very territorial and aggressive. So they're not going to eat anything it attacks, but don't test the waters because they will attack. Different than the Nile crocodile off to our left. Now these animals are predators or hunters. They kill to eat.
And the one has its mouth open.
Now their jaws are so strong, one bite exudes over 2,000 pounds of pressure per square inch. They weigh up to about 500 pounds and are about 18 feet long. Now to give you a better perspective, as a crocodile is 18 feet long, a giraffe is 18 feet tall. So you're to stand a crocodile up, lay a giraffe down right next to each other, but safely from each other. They're going to be about the same length. Speaking of those giraffes, about to head into the African savannah now, home of the giraffe as well as many other animals. Also home to many unique plants and trees, like this tree off to our right. This is called a baobab tree.
That's an interesting tree.
Baobab trees are also called upside down trees as their branches look like roots pointing at the sky. Baobab trees only grow leaves about 3 months out of the year. This is to conserve water. As out here on the savannah, water is incredibly hard to find, especially here on the Serengeti grasslands. This is the west part of the savannah. First animals we're going to see are off to our right here. Brown cattle with huge white horns. These are called the Ankole cattle. The Ankole cattle are also named the Watusi cattle after the Watusi tribe in Africa that first domesticated them. Only domesticated animals on the reserve. Their horns are anywhere from about 10 to 15 inches around at its base. And they act as a cooling system. As blood circulates through their horns, any excess body heat is released. It's kind of like their own personal air conditioning system. To our left, African wild dogs. I know all the truck goes, "Aw, I do too," but don't be fooled. These are not cute animals. They're the most successful predators in Africa. That means they kill more of their prey than lions and cheetahs combined. Alright, crazy stuff. They're so cute though. I suggest getting a plush one at our merchandise ones. They're a lot less violent. But African wild dogs may look all cute and cuddly, very, very dangerous. They are so dangerous because their stamina and endurance is just so much greater than that of their prey that their prey usually end up giving up before the hunt is even over. It is good to note though that lions or cheetahs prey usually a lot larger than African wild dogs prey. This helps with their success rate as they're only hunting very small animals. To our left, red rock formation or red pillar here. This is called a termite mound. Termites make these out of dirt, saliva, even dung. Gross. They're as hard as concrete after they harden or bake in the hot sun, making them really great scratching posts for animals like giraffes and elephants. To our right here, we will get to see some really small antelope, kind of have the coloring of a s'more. The graham cracker, the chocolate, the marshmallow. You see it. I know you do. These are called springbok. Now, springbok get their name from their ability to spring or pronk in the air 6 feet repeatedly when frightened. As they only stand 1 to 2 feet off the ground, that 6 feet is quite impressive. More impressively though, that 6 feet is straight up and down. If they were to spring forward, they could spring up to 13 feet forward in one jump. Up ahead here off to our left, we're going to approach some very tall trees. With tall trees sometimes come tall animals. Never know. Looks like there's some giraffe off to our left here. These are the Maasai giraffe, different than the more common reticulated giraffe. And the difference comes in their spots. Maasai giraffes have very jagged, puzzle-like spots, real asymmetrical. No two spots ever look alike. Reticulated giraffes have a lot more smooth, square, or geometric spots that are patterned a lot nicer on the skin. You know, these are the tallest animals in the world, standing anywhere from 16 to 20 feet when fully grown. Females more on the 16 end, males more on the 20, though they average out at about 18 feet. They have the same number of vertebrae in their neck as us humans do. That's 7 vertebrae in their neck, 7 in ours. However, their vertebrae are a lot larger than ours, as our necks aren't nearly as long as theirs. Yes, an elephant! Off to our right. This is a male elephant, fully grown African male elephant. We know he's a male because he's traveling all by himself. Males live most of their lives in isolation or seclusion. Females and babies, they're a lot more social animals. They'll be traveling in a herd together. Also off to our left is going to be a monkey. It's called the mandrill, a type of monkey known to have very vibrant blue and red markings on their faces. The male is actually on the tallest rock in the middle there. The female is off to the right of that rock. Males weigh about 50 pounds each. Females a lot smaller, about 25 to 30 pounds. Now back to that elephant though. You know, we got 25-pound and 60-pound monkeys. We've got 10,000-pound elephants. Elephants usually weigh anywhere from about 8 to 13,000 pounds when fully grown. Now, I did mention that females and babies do travel in a herd together, those female and baby elephants. And that herd is called a matriarch herd, led by one alpha female, or matriarch, of the group. Now let's see if we can go find them up ahead here. We might get some luck. You never actually know here. Our reserve is quite large. We only drive on a small portion of it. But a female elephant's pregnancy is about 22 months long. That is almost 2 years before it gives birth. Once it does give birth, though, the baby elephant will be in adolescence for about 13 to 15 years. That's the second longest adolescence out of all mammals. The first, of course, is who? Us. At 18 years, 30 years, 40 years. I heard it depends on who you ask. But now on a more serious note, sadly in Africa, elephants are victims of poaching. They're poached or killed for their ivory tusks. In Africa, ivory is seen as a very valuable item. Just like here in America, we value diamonds and precious gems for its symbolism of class, status, and money. In Africa, they value ivory that same way. So these beautiful, peaceful animals are killed each day in Africa for this materialistic item to be illegally sold on the black market. Along with poaching, they're also victims of habitat loss coming from the mining of metallic ore. Metallic ore, or coltan, the same materials found in any of our electronic devices, like cell phones, cameras, laptops, and even tablets. When miners come in and mine for this metallic ore, elephants are pushed out of their homes, left without a place to live or a place to grow its population. Because of both of these threats, as well as other threats, elephants are very endangered animals. Not yet extinct, of course, but could be in the near future. More conservation efforts aren't realized and poaching isn't stopped. Simple things we can do to help, though, save these elephants. Not only just make sure not to buy anything with ivory in it to kind of fuel that stock or supply and demand for such a materialistic item, but you can also recycle any of your old electronics. So we reuse our metallic ore or coltan instead of continue to take from those elephants. Just some things to keep in mind. Also, simple things like reduce, reuse, and recycle really does help any animal in the animal kingdom. Moving on though, to our left we get to see the greater flamingos. Greater flamingos are the lightest shade of pink of any flamingo. However, it really doesn't matter what type of flamingo it is. When it hatches, it's not pink at all. More of a gray coloring. After eating brine shrimp and other sea creatures that have keratin in it, it gets its pink coloring from that keratin. Groups of flamingos like this are called a flamboyance of flamingos, so we just saw a flamboyance of stinky flamingos. It's actually not the flamingos that have that stink to them. It's their food, it's the brine shrimp. But it's always my favorite part to drive around. Gotta plug your nose. But now we're exiting elephant country, making our way into the east savannah. This area is going to be home to both predator and prey. Dun, dun, dun. Now, hopefully we do get to see both kinds of animals. Both are very interesting. Hopefully, though, we don't see both interacting with each other. Not a sight you really want to see. We're moving very poly-poly. Poly-poly is Swahili for very slowly around the east savannah, but Hakuna Matata. We're enjoying it. It's good weather. Awesome animals. I don't see any at the moment, but I'm assuming there's going to be awesome animals. So we're just going to keep on moving. Just keep swimming, swimming, swimming. Go see Finding Nemo, the musical, later on today. That was my plug for that. Festival of the Lion King is better, though. We gon' wait. Now, usually the reason why we do start kind of having this backup or driving real slowly is because animals are in the ride path somewhere up ahead and we're kind of having to like move by them at a very slow pace. This is very common at Kilimanjaro Safari because, well, this is the animals' home. We're only guests on it, of course. So they kind of have the right of way. Keep your eyes peeled for those animals. Cheetahs have kind of been known to kind of like the area up ahead. It's going to be off to our left in the tree line. See if you can spot a cheetah up there. Yeah, cheetahs. Fast animals. I can see one. Right there. Right in the corner where the brush kind of opens up to that area. Fastest land animals in the world. Cheetahs run anywhere from about 60 to 85 miles an hour at top speed. Many people believe cheetahs to be long distance runners. They're actually more of sprinters. They can only hold that 60 miles an hour for about 100 yards of the length of a football field.
Have him laying on the ground. Yeah, he's laying on the ground there. I don't think he's doing much.
The cheetahs are also one of the very few daytime predators in Africa. Many predators do their hunting at night, using that night vision to catch their prey off guard. However, cheetahs, they don't have night vision. So they're actually going to see better in the daytime. So they don't really need to catch their prey off guard because they're going to catch them regardless. All right. We're going to loop around this corner here, see what other animals we can find. Maybe some more predators that are nocturnal. They might be sleeping this morning, but we might get to see them sleeping. Very slowly this morning. Yeah. All right, so these red rocks off to our left here are called Kopi rocks. Kopi rocks make for really great habitats for animals like lions who like to see above the savannah looking for its prey down below. Now, lions do sleep about 16 to 20 hours a day. So a lot of times if we do get to see them, we'll see them sleeping. Which then I pose the question, if you're going to sleep that much, why do you pick literally the hardest rocks in the African savannah to sleep on? I don't know. It's their choice. I don't judge. I would just pick the comfy grass instead, though. But they like it. That's why a lot of times these Kopi rocks are called pride rocks. That's because a group of lions is called a pride of lions. So if a group of lions or a pride of lions is sleeping on those rocks, we might as well call it Pride Rock. Up ahead, off to our left currently, we'll be on our right side for the rest of the safari, are going to be the white rhinos. White rhinos, just like elephants, sadly victims of poaching, poached or killed for their horns, which are made of keratin. Keratin is the same materials or proteins our own fingernails and our own hair are made out of. Some cultures in Africa believe this keratin to have medicinal purposes. However, just like biting your fingernails or plucking your hair has no medical value, neither does the keratin in their horns. They're senselessly killed animals. In front of us, though, as well, are going to be those brown antelope called bontebok. Bontebok are sadly extinct in the wild. They only exist on reserves like this one. Now, I did see the male lion's mane up ahead here off to our left. So it looks like we are going to get to see those lions sleeping, of course. Might be a little hard to spot there, but you can see its body knocked out cold. At night, though, he is a little more active. That's when the male lion stays back and protects the cubs and the territory. It's the female lionesses that go out and do most of the hunting. Also off to our left are going to be the warthogs. Now, warthogs are the largest burrowing animals in Africa. They use those little tusks to burrow into these holes, and then at night, backing into them in case any predators were to come, they can fight or flight their way out of the situation. They decide to flight or run away, they can run 35 miles an hour. Those white rhinos again off to our right. Now, they are called the white rhino, but they are a gray animal. They were only named the white rhino because when Westerners came to Africa and were colonializing, exploring, and discovering, they mistranslated the Afrikaans word vite. That's V-I-T-E, means wide, used to describe their wide mouths. They mistranslated that to white. So now we have gray rhinos with wide mouths named the white rhinos, and though we know it's wrong, nobody's doing anything to change it. It's been like 300 years. I guess the name just kind of stuck. So now we are in our last environment before we head back to the village. This is called the Magadi Glen. Home to the yellow-billed stork. They're off to our right. Whoever decided to name them, I think definitely dropped the ball on creativity. We get it. They're storks and they've got yellow bills. However, the most interesting thing about them, in my opinion, is their diet. Not only do they eat frogs and snakes like other birds, they also eat other birds. They eat their own kind. What? That's crazy. But cool nonetheless. Now, all across Africa and even all across the world, there are conservation efforts going on to protect all kinds of animals. Whether those are the bontebok and oryxes that are sadly extinct, the rhinos and elephants, which are highly endangered because of poaching, or any animal. Within any conservation effort, there are two main conservation goals. The first of which is to protect and preserve the animals and their population, regardless of if they're extinct, endangered, or thriving. The second goal, however, is for humans and animals to find new ways to live harmoniously together on this planet we share. Now again, my name is Sloan. I was your safari guide today. Here in Harambe, we don't really like saying goodbye. It is a little too sad and frankly way too final. So instead, we use an old Swahili phrase which means to go well. And that, my friends, is kwaherini. So kwaherini, everyone. Go well and go wild. Have a wonderful rest of your day here at Harambe, Animal Kingdom, or wherever that adventure takes you. And Asante Sana, thank you all so much. I hope you enjoyed your safari as much as I enjoyed it. Have a wonderful day and happy holidays.